And this is the year you're going to reach the summit. The moment a company decides to go international is always fraught with internal debate and opinions. Product market fit and effective sales are indisputable and required to grow fast. The remote market moment provides a great moment in the company. It's creative, where you can bring cash and valuation to the business. Founders and sales leaders who want to establish themselves in the remote market need to focus resources, build one funnel at a time, using the insights they've gathered from relevant sources in the target market. Founders need to build a high converting VSL funnel, video sales funnel, and test it using outbound prospecting and develop a set of collateral, use cases, articles, a set of video assets. Finally, founders can scale using ads, VSL webinar funnel, marketing automation, plus a sales team, as well as what we like to call the after party, which is the relationship side of doing business. We'll just call that channel partner traffic and affinity networks. The process is complicated and few marketers can do this right. Few teams have the agility and the sufficient funnel building skills in-house to test and analyze and capture the context of that new market and need outside help. Even when the new market sales process clicks, integrating market learnings into the department leads needs to be done in a controlled fashion through periodic workshops that build upon the raw footage and help bring conclusions to the group for discussion. Global Venture Advisors has 10 years of experience teaching US Europe funnel building and remote market development skills that actually work. If you are at an inflection point and want the growth opportunity to be substantiated in a new market, then stay tuned. A bit of background. I know you don't know me probably, and I'm making lots of grandiose claims here. Just some background and a couple of stories. My name is Chris, and I'm the founder of globalventure.com. I spent 10 years in tech in the US and the last 10 helping entrepreneurs, mainly out of Europe, test and expand their international business. Growing up in the States, I had the stereotypical jobs. I was a newspaper boy at the Seattle Times. I was a grocery bag boy at Safeway. Besides being obsessed with working efficiently so I could go hang out with my friends, the most notable thing I can think of was that Bill Gates' parents were on my paper route. So William Gates Sr. had the law firm that incorporated Microsoft in the 70s. And in 1986, the same year I was making $100 a month delivering newspapers 7 days a week, Microsoft went public. After graduating from UCLA, I finally got my first chance to work in tech at an internet service provider where I was the guy hand delivering disks to people's homes. And that led to a job at IBM where I learned how to configure enterprise software, took a lot of night school in computer science. Then I went back full time and got my MBA at Berkeley. The last quarter of my second year, I met a Berkeley alum, Tim Albinson, who wanted to start a company. And he asked me to run product development. So he was talking about next generation bots and marketplaces, and I didn't know anything about either one of those things, but that sounded really interesting. And we worked out of a renovated apartment in the Marina District, built collateral, pitched, built a beta, grew to 10 or 15 people, and then we ran out of money and everyone left. I'm going to bring back this slide of climbing the wall of ice because it sort of was really how it felt. The week that we started cleaning out the apartment, somehow, miraculously, another $800K that Tim had been working on came in. And so we got our second life, and that was our last near-death experience. We were much more focused on the problem we were solving and got a few paying clients. So we got stronger. My role naturally became more solution sales. That's the fun part of product development, helping people reach some end state and actually putting the tools in their hands to do it. We started delivering to some big companies, first in financial services like Charles Schwab, and then in high tech like Google and Cisco and Apple. I can still remember when Apple said no when I was on my lunch break and not giving up. To my surprise, the next week they sent guys to our office and we scoped out an engagement and spent the next few months in Cupertino mapping out their made for iPod program. I'd been working by now for nearly 9 years at the company, and we were still only doing around 5 million ARR, which to us felt like a failure, though the company was growing nicely. But my partner was from Europe. We had 3 kids, all under 4. I pitched our board on opening a European office, and I went through the whole rigmarole anyone trying to build such support is familiar with. When that inevitably felt flat, to cut a long story short, I said my goodbyes, put our minivan and our other young family stuff in a container and headed to Europe. But after arriving, I learned a couple of quick lessons from the school of hard knocks. Adapting to life in this new place was harder than I expected. With the recession of 2009, 2010 in full bloom, both of my jobs went south anyway, and I had to regroup. In the Netherlands, I did find some good companies, but what they needed was a connector into the US, and that role became an easy one to explain for me. In the next few years, I viewed travel as an investment in my business, plus a way to have some fun and get to know Europe better. As the approach got more codified, the model began to work better than I'd expected. We were still bootstrapped, but in 2013, we started inviting founders and VPs from companies like Adyen, Shazam, SoundCloud, and senior execs who'd be attracted by that concept. But usually they were also potential prospects for our clients, folks like Wells Fargo in FinServe, or Walmart in retail, or Boeing in aerospace. We continued to do gatherings, and I'll share some more about that later. But this ends back in 2013, that first one on the left, and we've just continued doing gatherings. So the last 3 years, we did work in the markets of Central Europe, Benelux, the UK, Germany, the US, Japan, South Africa, and so forth. Given the pandemic, Brexit, GDPR, where people might see barriers, we see opportunity. And the mission now is to take this approach and get it into the hands of the market, help great companies and entrepreneurs to climb that wall of ice and find their breakthroughs. Remote market development is changing. The role of video sales and funnels in B2B is becoming fundamental. And there's very specific ways that it needs to be done, which are not obvious at first. So this is a little flow diagram that we use with clients and prospects. We start by picking a niche, building the funnel, positioning the product, testing the offer to make sure customers love what we have. It's differentiated, that people's calendars are getting filled because it's resonating. And then we scale up lead gen and then sales. Step one is, and this applies to any of the modes that Index Ventures talks about for companies expanding into the US. Pendulum, Telescope, Compass, Home Anchor. I won't go into those because you can read those. But the first thing that you're going to do when you are getting started is, and you've got your small team, your agile team that's going to work on this, is you need to isolate the niche and focus your resources.